What episode is it, Tyler?
Press the first one.
I don't.
It's 10.
10. We're double digits, kids.
Like, no, you made me doubt myself, but I'm sure it's 10.
I'm pretty sure it's 10. Episode
Never do you
10,
know.
And we have a special treat in store today.
We do.
First time ever, we are bringing
it's
on.
Not my hair. Look at this.
Well, that's always my special treat. Well, for the first time ever, we're bringing in a special guest in a digital capacity.
Mm-hmm.
We're not having a live in-person visitor. We're having a digital visitor from far, far away from both of us.
Well, not far from me, really. I could drive there.
That's true. You could do. You'd have to take the tunnel, but you could do.
Yeah, could do. But
Speaking of, she is in the waiting room.
Okay.
So we'll talk about what this episode is going to be for a very brief moment, and then we will let her in, and we're going to pause our little recording to let her get accustomed to the madness that is this show. And then we will come back and we will ask her some very insightful questions. But basically, Ash, explain to our viewers the premise of today.
Essentially, what me and you cannot talk about is the viewpoint of autism from a female perspective.
True.
Partly because neither of us are female. And it is under my impression that it's very different.
It is under my impression that in order to discuss the female perspective, one must, in fact, be female.
So what we went and did is we went and found a female who was willing to come on and talk about their process and everything that they go through and how they deal with it. And basically fill in the gaps that we can't fill in.
So we have a very special guest today named Talisha, and she hails from the Netherlands. So not only are we getting the Netherlands. So not only are we getting a female perspective, we're also getting a perspective of somebody that lives in an entirely different culture than both of us. Because I think in many ways our cultures are similar, if diluted, they're similar.
Yeah.
So this will be interesting to see not only the female perspective, but also someone from an entirely different culture who might have much better access to much better care than either of us have ever had.
So let's go find out.
We're going to find out. We're going to push pause for a moment, and then we'll be back.
All right.
Ashley,
we're back from our brief pause.
Our brief hiatus.
As we all told you, we have a guest from the land of the never, under the name Talisha. Who might be down there. I don't know how this works.
I don't know if she's going to be down here or over here, or I don't know. She's going to be somewhere on the screen. She's the one that isn't Ash or me.
she's the female we were talking about.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Hello, guys.
You are our first guest, so we are gonna try and get this done smoothly.
Oh, it'll be smooth. And if it's not smooth, it's better when it's not smooth.
I don't know if that's in our nature.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No. So let's kick it off with one question that was a pretty big one, because that's how we tend to do it around here.
We do. We start big and then we whittle down.
We start big and then So what was your diagnosis process like?
So I was in a therapy group 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then in the end of the group, the psychologist asked me what my next step would be, if I wanted to stop therapy or do more therapy. And then I told her that I thought I had autism, and I asked if she could research that. And then she said, no, I don't think you have autism. And then I said, but I want to check it out, please. Can we research it? And then I came on to a waiting list for 9 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's
9 months?
Same. So that was the same as me in a way. Yeah, because there was a super long wait.
Wow.
Yeah, and I almost forgot it. And then after 5 months, I got a call And then they said, do you want to be, like, there was a spot free. Do you want to be researched sooner? And I said, yes, please. And then I had 3 sessions that were 3 hours long.
Oh
and
my
mother
gosh.
came as well. And we had to do like loads of questions, just an interview. And also my ex-boyfriend and my friend and my mother had to fill in a lot of questionnaires.
Wow, that's in depth.
It was so big.
And were those 3 sessions together?
No,
you said
like once a week.
Okay.
Once a week. Yeah.
3 weeks. Yeah. And
because mine was done in free.
Oh.
Yours was.
But it was months apart.
Oh,
so
months apart?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be hard.
Exactly. So I'm glad yours was weeks, because that's a little better.
Yeah. And then after 2 months, I got the diagnosis. So that was a long wait as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was about 8 or 9 months total for you, from like the beginning of you thinking this and then to you actually having some answers.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yes.
That is wild.
It took some time.
I don't know why it takes so long
anymore. I don't know if you're talking.
Oh, we can hear you now.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh no, it froze.
Oh, we'll be fine.
We'll
get you back. Can you hear us now?
Oops.
Maybe hit the pause button.
All right, hold on.
We are back again.
After a brief technical snafu, we are here again.
Yes, we are.
So we were discussing her diagnosis process.
Mm-hmm.
And here's something fascinating that I thought about. Ash, for you and for me, it was other people telling us that there was something different about our brains that then led us on this journey. What I think is wonderful, and I wonder if, there's the old stereotype that like men don't go to the doctor, like men refuse to go when they're hurt or when they're sick or whatever. So what I'm wondering is if that stereotype might actually hold a little bit of truth to it, in that, like, I think it's really amazing that Talisha was the one who thought first that her brain might operate in a different way, and that she sought out answers. You and I were like, we ran as far as we could away from the answers.
I was like, no, I don't know what this is, but oh well, put it in a box. Don't ever look at it again.
Yeah.
Like, you actually said this. I think there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And you actually asked yourself, would you describe it as an easy process? Apart from the waiting? Because the waiting is...
Yeah, the waiting's miserable.
Like, I find it quite difficult. I have bad memory to answer all these questions and to really know what I do all the time.
Yeah.
So it was good. Like, I had a very nice researcher. He was very nice and very helpful. But
that's good to know.
Yeah, I found it quite hard because it were a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, and I think the inherent flaw in that question process anyways is that people on the spectrum inherently have more trouble at like processing their own response to things, because like, I don't know if it's the same for you two, but for me, I have a lot of trouble relating to the way that other people process things because I process it so differently. So if someone were to come to me with a bunch of questions and I were to have to answer that and try to relate, like, do you think it's this or this? I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. And maybe that's why they had her bring in, a support unit of people that also know her.
That's what they wanted me to do. They wanted like parents and everything, but I just got my friend in. I was like, that's all you're going to get. Because like, you don't need anything else. Like, if I've got it, you should know because you're like the specialist.
Yeah.
Like, like you need to know about me and I'm here.
Exactly.
Like, that was pretty much how I handled it, which was probably not the most professional way for them. It's like, but that's where I'm like, I'm always awkward.
So am I.
But I think we handled that one well.
But I really recognize, like, I find it hard if people ask me if things are different with me because I am only myself. So like if I differ from normal people, I don't know what normal people what they feel.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. That's the story of my life.
You can't know what's different unless you had both sides.
Yeah.
And no one has.
No.
That's the problem.
I know.
Like literally there's.
And I feel like the burden is always placed on us to relate to the way that other people experience. And there's never the same burden placed on them to try to understand how we are feeling. It's always like, because they're the like neurotypical ones, we're the ones that have to try to say, well, wait, how would they think? Versus I feel like if more people tried to think how we think, it would go a lot further.
It would. Because I sort of have this thing where I understand where I'm getting overwhelmed and where certain things are affecting me, like unlike people who are over the spectrum. But it's sort of like I can't be there fully because all I know is this.
Yeah, you're just this is normal for us.
Yeah. So Talisha, for you, what would you say the difference is between males and females on the spectrum?
So the biggest one I think is that girls from a young age they try to adapt more and they want to fit in very badly and they want friends and they don't want to be weird, maybe more than boys. So yeah.
I was pretty happy to be weird. Like honestly, that was all right for me. Like, I wasn't worried about fitting in or, you know.
Yeah, me neither. But mine was less. I just never even I never even had that thought. Like I never even. That was just like not. It was like you know, if somebody came to me and asked if I was into professional figure skating, no, I'm just not, and I've never thought about that. So why would I care about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head, though. I think there is more of a. I don't even would you say it's a pressure to feel that to fit in, or is it just a desire?
Are we back here?
A bit more bitchy, like if like they can makes sense. Be more mean to each other.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. Was there like, do you feel like you can't be different at all? Was it sort of like a pressure that you couldn't be anything but normal? Because I feel like because in my school in particular, I noticed there was a lot of tight knitted female groups who hung around, and it was sort of like people who obviously didn't fit there were in the groups being people they weren't, and like like when it comes out of that, you know that they drift. And but I feel like a lot of people are sort of pressured into being into these sort of friend groups, but not necessarily by people, but more by society.
Yeah. I think I was weird and I had weird friends and I really liked it with them. But then I got picked on a little bit. So then, we try to be not be too weird.
Yeah.
It's
just, that makes sense.
Yeah. Just
That's so fascinating. And I think the hard part about all of these questions too is Talisha hit the nail on the head. To her, the female experience is her normal experience. And for us, the male experience is our normal experience. And so right now we're trying to find like common language to feel where we're similar and where it's different. And it's hard because neither of us have had the other person's experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is really, I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. I think it's not many people seek out this kind of meeting in the middle. And I think it's important to try to do that.
Why do you think there is more diagnosed males? Because I believe the last time I looked, it was something like 4-1.
Yeah, really? I think.
Yeah, I think it was that much.
I think so. The people who do the diagnosis, like the psychologists, they don't even know what to look at. Like this woman who told me that I wasn't autistic just by looking at me, and she was a trained psychologist. That maybe already is a problem.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Is it just interesting why she just wouldn't even chase that lead and just be like, all right, let's just check this out?
Yeah, because I trained myself making eye contact and just being more normal. So
Yeah.
I think she just looked at those stuff and thought, no, you're not autistic. But a big thing in autism is masking. So it's weird that she didn't knew about that.
But you'd have mentioned like you have to train. Like you have to train to be normal. Like that's what we all do. And it's such a strange thing that some people just forget. Like just because we can do these things.
Exactly. That it wasn't a lot of work to get there.
Yeah. Like we can do them, but it doesn't mean I'm not hating it right now. Like, all right, we're making eye contact. I'm not enjoying it.
Exactly.
It didn't come natural. It was
in fact, I just, Ash, in that poem that you read on your live, it was my 3000th typewriter poem. It was my first time ever really writing about some of the things that go on in my brain that might be different from other people. And that was one of the things I said in that poem was 300 times a minute, I have to remind myself to look into your eyes. And I mean, and that's the thing is, nobody sees, like, that's the very top of the iceberg that sticks out of the water, and nobody sees the 38 years of practicing to keep bringing my eyes back, even though they really badly want to go like this, to keep forcing my head to turn back to the person.
But my ADHD doesn't help because I get very distracted by birds.
Me too. And there's like 100 flying outside my window right now.
You do it to me all the time. I'm in the middle of a sentence and then you're like, what up? What? I'm like, dude, come back here.
But I'm still listening with my ears, but my eyes are going somewhere new.
Oh, exactly. I have this with my mother. She can tell me whole stories and I'm just watching like this. And then she screams, Talisha, you have to pay attention. And I'm like, I can't repeat every word she said.
Exactly. Verbatim. I'm like, do you want me to type it out first? Because everything you said, I heard.
I'm just tired of proving myself. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You win.
So speaking of that, Talisha, here's a question I had. Us training ourselves to look into people's eyes and things like that. Those are learned behaviors that we've had to train ourselves. So my question is, do you have any coping mechanisms that get you through a day? Like for me, we've talked about this before. I always have to carry mints in my pocket and I have to have antihistamines like Benadryls and things like that. I have to know that I have them so that if I ever get like too nervous or overwhelmed, I can take one of those and it helps like me feel like I can breathe again. So do you have any?
I need better coping mechanisms. That's what I've learned on this podcast.
What is a histamines?
So we have these little medicines. Have you ever heard of Benadryl?
No.
So it's kind of a medication. Anti-allergy. So if you're having an allergy attack and you take the pill, it makes you so you can breathe again and you don't itch. So I always carry those around because as a child, I would have bad allergy attacks and
he's allergic to the world, I swear.
I'm allergic to everything. And so my throat would start to feel like it was closing and then that would scare me really bad. And so now everywhere I go, I have to know that I have those medicines in my pocket. So if I ever feel panicky or like I can't breathe, I at least know that I have them with me and that makes me feel better.
Yeah. Do I have those coping things?
Yes.
I wrote it down.
Perfect.
You wrote it down. Perfect.
Where is it? So I have two bad ones. I will start with those.
Okay.
Drinking and smoking. Very bad.
Ashley, you share the smoking one with her.
Yeah. I'm trying. I'm working on it.
So drinking and smoking, and in what ways would you say you use those? How do they make you feel better when you do them?
Drinking is like every social occasion with more than like 3 people. I like not every time, but like a party or something. I need it. just to get less nervous.
Sure. Does it make you feel better being in the crowd? Because me and Tyler talked about it, where we have like a certain amount of people where until it just gets too much. Mm-hmm. So does that like drinking sort of take that edge off?
It takes the edge off, yeah, big time. Do you drink?
I've never drank. Yeah, I've never had alcohol, never in my whole life.
What?
No, never a drop in my whole life.
That's cool.
Well, the reason is
I find it very cool.
I think I'm a product of my own circumstance, because with me is my brain hates being out of control at all. And so I've always been very afraid of drinking, because I don't want to not be driving the boat of my brain, because it's all, even with me driving it, it's scary enough. So if I was just a step away, I have no idea where I would go.
It would be an interesting experiment one time. But
no, it would not be. It would be terrifying.
On the podcast. Tyler drinking some beers.
In a medical facility with like 200 doctors, maybe.
That would be even worse. That would be my worst nightmare. Even just going into a medical facility with 200 doctors, and I would need to like be sedated.
As long as you didn't know they were there, they would just carry on anyway. We're sorry.
So in what way would you say that smoking is different from the drinking? Do you use it in a different capacity?
I smoke every time before I make a phone call.
Okay.
That's the way. I don't like phone calls. So, and then I don't know, it just gives me some peace of mind. And then
sure.
I can understand that.
Yeah. That makes sense. I bet it's something with the routine of it too.
Yeah.
It's a routine. It became a routine.
For me, like I was never addicted to the nicotine. I don't think. Or the hit of the throat. That's it for me. Like that's a common thing. And that is just, that little thing is just perfect.
Yeah.
So like, and that is something I can't replace, which is why I have such a hard time stepping away from it.
Yeah.
You know, because like you can buy nicotine patches that replaces the nicotine.
But it wasn't that for you.
As for the actual hit in the throat, you can't replace that.
No.
So that's that.
It's interesting to me how all of us seem to have, I mean, all of those things have to do with, first of all, the routine, but second of all, throat and breath. And I think that's really interesting that like mine just so happened to be really strong mints. Or do you guys have Airwaves gum over there?
No.
There's like this kind of a gum that when you eat it, it feels like it feels like somebody just put peppermint straight down your throat, and it opens up all of your airwaves.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Ever.
But it's interesting that all of our things have to do with the routine of breath. And I think that's really fascinating.
Yeah.
It is. Funny you saw that pattern.
Yeah. I wonder if there's something there. I wonder if we did like a wider scale study, if a lot of people on the spectrum have, like, if there's something going on with their breathing. And I wonder if it just has to do with hyper awareness to your senses, because breathing is such an automatic response. Like everybody just breathes naturally. But I wonder if because our brains are so highly tuned that we feel the sensation maybe more of breath. And so we're more focused on it. And so making sure it's regulated I don't know. I'd be interested if
that makes total sense though.
I just made that up, but it sounded
what was the other side of that coin of coping?
So I listened to all your podcasts before this, and I heard so Ash, you keep busy, right? You keep very busy.
I just don't stop.
I have the same. I just make in my head, I just make like tasks that I want to accomplish, and then all is good. And then in the chaos of my brain, then it's just peace. So I just keep busy.
Is yours keeping busy in the right way? Because for me, like, for example, right, I go to work and that keeps me busy, but I hate it. And like, that isn't controlled busyness. It's weird. Like, I have to control how I'm busy to be happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm the same way with that too. Like if somebody assigns me a bunch of menial tasks that are just that I don't want to be doing, that is the worst thing for me ever. I mean, that is like torture.
And that's like 90% of my job.
Yeah, I know it is.
I hate people telling me what to do. I get like a child, like, no, like I don't want it. But sometimes you have to do stuff.
I have issues with authority also. I will tell you that.
So do I. I think we all share that one.
I have trouble being in charge, and I have trouble not being in charge. So I just want a society where there's no one in charge.
Oh no, that's chaos.
Yeah, I don't like that idea. I don't want that.
It's a terrible idea, but I don't know how else to solve this.
Do you both like to be very practical? So you feel the most accomplishment if you did it in the most practical way, and then you're very proud of yourself.
Yes. But everybody else is like, who cares? And you're like, I care a lot.
But that definition of practical is very loose.
Yes, true.
Let's also point that out. The way that you solve some issues, like the way that Tyler solves some issues, is very, very, very clever. Like,
so I always think of it in terms of this. You know how they say that animals always take the most direct path? Like an animal, like geometrically, will go from point A to point B in this fastest, least path, like path of least resistance. I feel like my brain is very animalistic in that. If I'm assigned a task, my brain automatically goes like and tries to figure out the like most efficient means to get from there to the end goal. And sometimes I'll be working with people who, especially like my mom, who she does things in a way that she was taught. Even if it's not the right or the most efficient way, it's the way she learned. And so she's like, no, this is the way we're doing it. But my brain is like, yeah, but if we did this, that, this, and this, it would cut off 35 minutes. We would save $26 and we would be done and it would be better. And it's like this argument. And I'm like, why don't you see that this is the most efficient way to do this?
Yeah.
So on that sort of wavelength, do you have like some strange habits because of being on the spectrum?
But I wanted to say something else. Wait.
Oh, good.
Okay. Do you also cheer yourself on?
Yes.
I do.
Like when you get overwhelmed, you're like, you can do it. You're amazing. You can do it. Yeah.
You've been here before. Sometimes. Come on, Ash. Come on.
Okay, so then this is this is the same wavelength, but sometimes if I feel like I'm not doing something that I know I can do, I get angry with myself and I cheer myself on almost like a mean coach where I'm like, you're an idiot. You're better than this.
Yes.
I do that when I'm working out. Like if one week I make it all the sets easily, and then the next week I'm like struggling by like the third one. I'm like, you're better than this.
See, but that makes sense. I do that for like telling myself I don't have to pee for the 15th time before running to the grocery store. I'm like, you're fine. You just went to the bathroom. You're going to be fine for 10 minutes.
Sometimes I'm being too mean, and then I tell myself, no, you cannot be that mean to yourself. And then I tell something less mean, and then it's good.
Exactly. Then you have to give yourself 2 compliments. You have to be like, yesterday you did a great job. I do the same exact thing.
I love how we cross wires 3 ways here.
I know.
It's just like, it's a wonderful thing.
So much fun.
Everyone should join us on the spectrum because it's fun.
I know. Being on the spectrum is the universal language. It's like the Babel fish in your ear. You can just like anybody else that's on the spectrum, you just know and you just get it.
Yeah, exactly. It's wonderful. Well, let's something have a look at the list. Where are we at? So
I think my internet is not good.
We can still hear you.
Okay,
yeah, you're good.
Yeah. We only have a few more questions because I think Zoom's going to kick us off shortly anyway. Okay. So yeah, we have a few more though. Ash, what do you got?
So let's ask this one because I think let's go for habits first. Go for habits first.
I'm very fascinated with smells. So when I have a good smell on my hand, I just sniff it until it's gone. I'm like,
what is your favorite smell?
That's a hard one. I have one hand cream that I really like.
Ooh.
I don't think I have a consistent favorite smell.
Okay.
What's yours?
So mine's weird and it makes me sound like I'm a serial killer, but my favorite smell is rubbing alcohol.
Oh yeah.
I really like. They're the ones in nature that just pass you by, that you can't explain, that don't stay around, and they're just like, whew, and you're like, what was that smell? Too. That was beautiful. Whatever that is.
That's a good answer.
That's up there.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
That's a very poetic answer.
Poetic answer. Whoa! Oh my God! Help!
Welcome to the madhouse.
I know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have any more of those, habit-wise?
Yeah, I like the smell.
I have a quirk. Is that funny?
Oh yeah,
quirks.
So I also work with autistic children, and I noticed something in all of them, that they sometimes have bursts of laughter without really sometimes there is no reason for it at all, and they laugh for a long time. And I have this too. Like, I can be so, for no good reason, I just can't stop laughing.
That one. When I get hurt, I laugh. If anything hurts me physically or any other thing, I immediately start laughing, and which is really disconcerting because like I've been in 1 or 2 physical fights in my life, and the moment that they punched me, I started laughing hysterically, and it really scared people because they were like,
"It's the best defense mechanism."
It is because but I do the same thing where I don't, in a situation where I feel like am supposed to be sad, I'll laugh instead, and then I won't get angry with myself for laughing.
I broke my aunt's bed once, and because I jumped on it, and I was just laughing, and she got very angry. Like, that's disrespectful, but I just felt nervous, I think. I don't know. Yeah.
Have you ever seen me read my poetry out loud? Sometimes I do a humor poem and there's a line in there that trips me up because I laugh at myself a lot. Like, it's even weirder when the line comes to my head and I haven't had to say it out loud, and then it comes to my head and I just laugh at it. I'm like, oh, I gotta write that down. But to everyone else, it must just look like I'm just laughing. So I totally relate to that.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing.
I love it. So the biggest one left, I would say, is
one more.
What are your biggest struggles?
Oh yeah.
Because that one is
that's a big one. And then I have one to follow up with that, and it's just I want to know, after you answer that, I just want your last answer to be, what do you love about being on the spectrum?
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
So let's do the hard one, then the happy.
Hard one, then the happy one.
Biggest struggles, making choices.
Yeah.
Very big one for me. Overthinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a hardcore overthinker.
Obsessive thoughts, obsessive thinking.
Yeah.
Being misunderstood.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Being too direct, and then people feel hurt. And I didn't mean it like that at all.
That's Tyler's life.
That is my whole life.
It's hard.
It is.
It is hard.
And the last one is, when I'm overwhelmed, then I can be a bit numb. And
I get that.
I do too.
Yeah. Then I cannot get a lot out of myself, and that's I don't like that.
It feels like you're shutting down.
I think maybe the numbness comes from feeling too much.
I do too.
So like, like you put too much electricity into something and it's going to blow up. And then like, that's sort of the same with bodies.
Yeah.
Mine.
I totally agree.
You put too many force in that brain. It's like, boom. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing.
I agree. Okay, so finally, what do you love about being on the spectrum?
I love that I'm honest always. That I'm very passionate about stuff that I like.
Yes.
That I like to be creative and think outside of the box. And also the sensory, like sensitivity, sometimes it's a pain in the ass, but sometimes it feels like I'm on drugs. And I'm not on drugs. Like I see the colors, they dance, and it's like, it's cool. It's cool. Like superhuman.
Cool.
Right? It is superhuman. That is the perfect way to say it. It's a superpower. It really is a superpower. It is. Mm-hmm. I feel bad for everybody who doesn't experience their sensory world like we do. I feel bad for everybody because it's like they're watching a normal movie and we're watching a movie in 3 dimensions with smells and sounds and the chair moves and everybody else is just sitting there watching a flat TV.
Mm-hmm. One of the most interesting things for me is when like me and Tyler recorded our interviews towards each other. We both came up with a similar answer of we wouldn't do anything to change this. We wouldn't want it to go away. Oh. But yet it's so dressed up in society as a bad thing. Still, I think. But there's like, and you practically just said the same as well. So that's like 3 people who are like, I wouldn't want to change this.
No.
And that's just overwhelmingly amazing.
It is.
It is amazing.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on here and doing this. I know it's weird to talk to us separated by oceans and continents, but we appreciate it so very much.
We do.
Thanks for having me.
And if you ever want to come back, we would love to have you back.
Like if you have any ideas, just throw them at us.
Yeah, if you had like episode ideas, or if this is the biggest one. If you see any holes or gaps in what we're talking about, and you think they really need to talk about this, come on and talk about it with us and help us, because obviously we need as much assistance as we can possibly get.
No, you're doing great, but I will. Yes, thanks for the offer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, guys, I wrote a poem. I never wrote a poem before in my life, but I wanna do it too.
Yes, this is amazing.
But I don't know the rules of poems, so please don't laugh at me.
There are no rules in
not.
poems.
There are none.
Well, there are some. I Googled. They said, don't be cliche. Don't be... Okay, just gonna try. Okay. I was always a weirdo. First, I thought I was a lonely weirdo. But then I found out about the secret weirdo society, which I could be a part of. And I didn't hesitate to take part, because there I feel at home. The society rules are great too. Them being, honesty is key, only talk about stuff that matters, don't make too much noise, please, be kind, and let's have lots of fun. That's the poem.
I love it.
The weirdo society is like, I want that to be a thing.
I want to make a t-shirt out of that.
Another t-shirt.
A new t-shirt.
That's another thing there's another website you can start with Dear Aspie.
Seriously.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Yes. I want those rules. I want those rules printed out, and like I want to give everybody a card every time I meet them and be like, here's the rules on talking with me. And then just be like, them. I'm literally making business cards for when I introduce myself to people. I'll be like, hang on.
That's a good one.
That's exactly
Tyler would actually do it as well. So,
I would do it.
So, you know.
I would do it.
It's going to happen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
And if you ever need us, we're around.
We're always here. Here, whatever.
Here, I can just pause it right now, and then we can here.
All right. No,
dude, that was amazing.
Just the 2 of us.
That went so much better than it could have ever gone. Like, she's amazing.
We're very lucky.
We're very lucky.
Because that could have because like me and you, we just have this tendency to have a train wreck.
We do, and she was the rails that kept our train going on that one.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I struggle because it's just so hot right now. Like I think me and her have the same sort of weather, and it's so hot right now. Like I'm just falling apart.
Well, it was also heightened situation, so.
Yeah. It was
all right, buddy. Well,
like,
this has been a long recording. So why don't should we end on some poems?
Yeah, do you want to go first or you want to go first?
I don't care. Go ahead.
You pick. All right. This doesn't have a title, but oh well. Let's just call it Don't Know.
Okay.
The truth is, I don't know. I don't know where we're heading, and I don't know how we're going to get there. I have a free figure bank account, and that's including the pennies. And I don't know how we're going to make it. I don't know if I'm the moth or the flame, downfall or uprising. I have a pocket full of questions, but let's not waste any more time. I've always been less about the destination and more about the adventure. I've been more about chasing dreams than actually catching them. I don't know what happens when it's over, because I never stay long enough to find out. Some days I just want to stop. I want to feel the anchors and the aches, but I just can't. And why? I don't know. I don't know who I am at zero. I don't know what happens when the engine goes off. Scared. Maybe. I don't know. There are parts of me still foreign. Places I can't afford the bus fare to, but I'm sure I'll get there in time. I'm an overthinking, underachiever. And I have nothing but a whole lot of love. A suitcase full of poems. And a crooked smile. I will never stop giving all of me. And is that enough? I really, really don't know.
Ooh. I like
saucy
that one,
sass.
Buddy. I don't know either, man. but I love
it. The recording hasn't been that long.
No. I think it's been
like 40
something minutes. So we're doing good.
Which is fine for a guest episode.
It is. I think we did all right.
Yeah.
I forgot what number mine is, but you just randomly chose it out of 3005. So that's how we're doing it on my side of the coin today.
I literally read out like 10 numbers and you're like, too short. Pick again.
Nope, pick it, everyone. So this is the first one that he landed on that would take me more than like 12 seconds to read. So that's what hey, a raven just landed on the railing.
Nice raven.
That was weird timing, because here we go. Listen to the poem and then think about a raven watching. What if we had a house of ghosts, hands on door frames in the corners of our eyes? What if we were haunted by love that was loved within those walls? Would you see them? Would you speak as though they wore flesh? Would you invite them in? Here, a man who watched his lover pass. Here, the lover, thinner in the light for the time she waited. Would the creaking floorboards startle, or would they soothe? Would they sing? We too were here once. We too loved as you love. Stay, I would say. We will stay until we haunt the spaces we called home. Put your hand through me, where my heart once beat. Stand beside the window and vanish as the sun makes us invisible. What? And there's a raven watching. There's a raven watching the poem as I read it.
That reminds me of hold on, because I gotta get this right. Give me 1 second. Ghosts.
There be ghosts.
There's this song called "This House Is Not for Sale" by Ryan Adams, and it's like about ghosts. It's about like these two like people who died in a car crash, and then like their houses are for sale.
Sad.
And then they're like, yeah, but it's sort of like yours would fit in the narrative.
Oh, got it.
I'll send it to you later. If anyone hasn't heard that, go and hear it.
Go and hear it. It's the soundtrack to the day.
There we go. That's episode 10 with our first guest.
10 in the books.
That's wonderful.
And we'll be back next week talking about something new. And in the meantime, click the stuff and do the things and tell people and whatever.
All the stuff.
All the stuff. We love you.
The A to Z of stuff.
The A to Z. We love you. Goodbye.
We love you. Bye.